You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889. Thank you for listening to Community Forum. My name's Johnny Chandler. I'm the owner of KCCC 930 AM and the host of Community Forum. And with me today, I have two members of the NAACP chapter here in Eddy County. One of them is joining us by phone. Judge Collis Johnson, Carlsbad Municipal Court Judge Collis Johnson is joining me here in person. She's also president of the NAACP in Eddy County. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you very much. I know that you have a busy schedule. I know that municipal court schedule is packed, right?
Yes.
And everything else that goes along with that the public doesn't see, right? And so I really appreciate your time today. And I know we pre-record everything and everybody knows, but I appreciate your time. We're going to get you back to it as soon as we can.
That'll be fine. Thank you for having us on today.
I really appreciate that. The other guest that we have joining us by phone is Yolando Jimenez. Yolando Jimenez is the NAACP Youth and AACT-SO coordinator. Yolanda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. I'm so glad that you're here. It's very nice to meet both of you. This is the first time I've met both of you, so thank you very much. First question off the gate, Yolanda. You're the NAACP Youth and AACT-SO coordinator. We're on the radio, so it's AACT-SO coordinator. But I don't know what any of that means. So, Yolanda, can you enlighten me on what the AACT-SO coordinator is and what it does?
Well, AACT-SO stands for Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. So that's what AACT-SO stands for. So basically, it's a scholarship opportunity for high school students. So it's a competition that goes from 9th to the 12th grade. It has STEM, culinary, English, dance, and just a whole lot of different sections of the competition. But it starts out with the local competition, and then eventually it goes to national. And so wherever we're having our national NAACP conference, that's usually where the AACT-SO competition is eventually held.
What a great opportunity for the students too, right? Considering it's probably held in like really great cities, right? With really great recreation and great things to visit and see. So on top of that, that's really good. It's just like a BBA in Carlsbad High School or something like that. It's really taking our young people and giving them that confidence to succeed in the future, right? Right.
Yes, that's true.
That's wonderful. Yolanda, how long have you been with, or how long have you been a part of the NAACP here in Eddy County, or at least in that position?
Well, I've been at the NAACP for probably about 3 years here in Eddy County. So I've been a member of the NAACP longer, but however, as far as a part of the Eddy County chapter, it's been 3 years.
Okay, great. And so now I'm going to shift to the president of the NAACP in Eddy County, Judge Collis Johnson, who I will now refer to as Ms. Collis for the rest of the interview. So you're president of the NAACP. I want to ask a little bit, were you born and raised in Carlsbad? Did you move here? What's your story with Carlsbad?
I was born in Los Angeles, but my family moved here to be close to family when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, so you're Carlsbad.
Yes, I'm Carlsbad.
All right, great. Now, as a municipal court judge, it's a pretty standard question I have. I do know that you do not have to be a lawyer or have passed the bar to be a municipal court judge, right? It's a law by the people for the people, I suppose I could say. So what inspired you to become a municipal court judge, and are you a lawyer?
I'm not a lawyer. I started with municipal court when I was in 1980.
So you worked for Janelle Whitlock for a long time?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I've worked with about 5 judges, and I was her court administrator. I worked from ground one all the way up to court administrator and her alternate judge. Mm-hmm. And I retired from the city, from municipal court with 30 plus years. And then I decided to run for municipal judge. Wow,
congratulations on that for sure. You definitely, I wasn't able to vote at that time. You would have received my vote, I promise you. And then look at you with that, the para-retirement and now the judge job. Right. I think that's excellent. Wonderful. I'm glad you're here in the community. But Yolanda and Ms. Collis, all that aside, we're here for a very specific reason. Right? On October 25th and October 26th. So this airs at noon on the 24th. If you're listening to this, it's noon on the 24th of October. It literally starts tomorrow and then on the 26th. This is the NAACP State Conference of Branches, Youth, and College Chapters. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, and then the theme this year, Yolanda, you want to give us the theme?
All in.
All in. Okay. So tell me a little bit, Yolanda, if you could, about the idea behind the theme and why this year's theme is all in, if you even had a hand in it.
I did not. Actually, the National came up with the theme. So that was the theme. We're trying to make sure that we're all in, all of us are participating, all of us are in agreement, we're all on the same page and in one accord. We're all in. So that was who actually came up with our theme for this year.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask a very ignorant question. I'm just going to lead off with that. This is the NAACP chapter. I assume that you want everybody in the community to come and show up and see what y'all are doing.
Yes, we do. We want everybody to
Yes.
come out and support this event, support our gospel extravaganza, and then also support the sessions that we're going to be having on that following Saturday on the 26th.
Okay. Let's get to the sponsors real quick. Make sure the sponsors know. We've got the Human Energy Company, as everybody knows, is Chevron. It's a major sponsor. The New Mexico Black Chamber of Commerce. I can't read that other one. It's an MLK organization, but I can't read it because I have it printed in black and white. And then the New Mexico Office of African American Affairs. I really apologize by not being able to see that little one, just because of the logo is small. But those are some of the great sponsors that you all do have. And I want to start with another question, another one from the ignorance category. Can anyone become a member of the NAACP, or do you need to have like African heritage?
No, anyone can be a member of the NAACP. We have applications. It's $30 for a year. And anyone that wishes to participate with the NAACP, we welcome to come in.
Okay, great. Wonderful. I mean, I assume that as well. Yolanda, go ahead.
But no, I was just going to say that the NAACP is a civil rights organization, and everyone needs their rights to be defended from time to time. So that is what we're here for. We're a civil rights organization, so anyone can be a part of the NAACP.
Great, thank you. Ms. Collis, what does it mean to be the president of the NAACP in Eddy County and have the state conference coincide with being in Eddy County?
I take big pride with being the president. I'm fairly new to it, so I'm growing as we go along in this. But I have great members that are great help when we're doing different events. And then also, as Yolanda, she is really a big help in this organization.
Yolanda, same question to you. What does it mean for in your role to be involved with the Eddy County chapter for just over 3 years now, and to have the state conference come when you just happen to be here and be super involved? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It means that as far as our state understands that Carlsbad is a big part of the picture. We're part of the chapter too, as far as the Eddy County chapter. So we've been participating a lot within our state conventions and other locations, because last year was in Albuquerque, before it was in Hobbs. And this just having it here in Carlsbad just lets us know, as well as lets everyone else know, that Carlsbad is a part of the piece of the puzzle too.
Right. I can't agree with you more. Being a Carlsbad resident myself, that seems I'd like to be a piece of it as well. You know, if I'm here, don't forget about us also. Let me get into some of the details. This is the 73rd annual conference that we've had in the state of New Mexico for the NAACP, right? All events this year are going to be at the Hyatt House of Carlsbad at the Carlsbad Event Center. You can't pass it. It's basically right across from Walter Gerald's, right? So a couple of side notes for you. Just for the Hyatt House in Carlsbad is located at 4019 National Parks Highway here in Carlsbad. If you are not a member of the NAACP chapter, you can join every event on Saturday, October 26th for just $40.
That's correct.
Right. That's an observer registration. Now, I would say, let's say that you only have Friday night available as a community member, right? Your Saturday's booked or something, and you wanted to go to this. You go to 7 p.m. at the Carlsbad Event Center next to the Hyatt House, and you have a free gospel extravaganza.
Correct.
And that's free and open to the public. So I don't believe I've been to a gospel extravaganza before. So will you potentially share a little bit about what we can expect?
It's just different entertainment, different artists that are coming in, local, different people participating in singing. We're going to have dramatizations also, and everything like that.
Okay, so a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun and gospel, right?
And gospel.
God, yeah, that's good. I was raised Catholic, right? I was going to tell you I was raised Catholic. Very sterile Catholic environment, hour or so there. Really glad when we got to got the blood of Christ in the, you know,
Right.
in the body of Jesus, because that meant it was almost over, right? It's like, so there wasn't a lot of energy. So I do love the idea of like a real energetic gospel and prayer in general, because it can get.
Yeah, we'll also have praise team dancers there and everything.
All right,
so.
that's great. So that's 7 p.m. on the 25th, the Gospel Extravaganza, free and open to the public. What a great way for you to go experience something that maybe you're not too familiar with or haven't experienced before. Right. So now we're going to go on Saturday at 8 a.m. We're going to get started. You can register in person. Like I said, if you're an observer, it's $40. The prayer breakfast, we have a guest speaker who's coming from Clovis.
Correct.
Right? That's Pastor Delmas Gillis II.
Right.
I think I pronounced his first name correctly, but we'll just call him Pastor Gillis. He's with the Bethlehem Baptist Church in Clovis. Now, if you want to listen to him speak and see what the great people in Clovis are doing, that's only $15.
Right.
Okay. And I want to make sure we list the prices simply because people know that this is an incredibly inexpensive experience. Right. They're not asking for a bunch. You're not getting rich off of this.
And you will be fed. So.
Yeah, you will be fed for sure. Now, do we know who the caterers are?
The caterer for the breakfast will be PB&J.
Oh, yeah. Right. We do that a lot here at the college.
Yes.
Right. And then what about the banquet dinner?
The banquet dinner is going to be sponsored by Andrea, the chef Andrea.
Oh, yeah, Chef Andrea. Yes. Right. We know Chef Andrea very well. And then, I mean, I'm only on the food right now, so I might as well finish it out. What are we doing on the conference luncheon?
The luncheon is going to be catered by My Daddy's Barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yes.
Cool. Excellent. That's over there on Pierce.
On Pierce Street,
Right.
yes.
Yes, that's good. So, now, prayer breakfast at 8 a.m. Get there before if you want to register. Then you have 2 workshops I noticed, right? And if Yolanda, if you have any information on this, please feel free to chime in and cut me off, okay? Because I know that since you're not in person, I can't give you that eye contact to let you know that I'd love you to say something. You know what I mean? So,
no, that's fine.
Okay. So we get into the morning workshops. The morning workshops will go from 9:30 to noon. They're for adult and youth both. Now, I know that these workshops and everything are part of the national staff coming down. I would say that these state conferences are probably a really great opportunity for national staff members to come down and give you some of the latest training that they have, some tips on how the organization is moving forward and how you can move your organization forward as well, right?
Correct.
So go ahead. Is there anything else on those morning workshops that you would like to share with us?
They'll have a membership conference session there for all the members to be able to attend. But then we're also going to have workshops that we'll have local staff that will be hosting those. That'll be on bias and for finance.
Okay.
So
Right.
they'll be teaching that. The finances is with Joel Takafak. And then bias, free policing is going to be taught by Eric Thurkel, if I'm saying his last name correctly.
I believe that's how you say his last name. I don't know who that gentleman is either, so no problem. So the conference lunch from My Daddy's Barbecue.
Right.
Right. And then who is the keynote speaker? Derek Lewis II. He's the NAACP Interim Director for Youth and College.
Correct. He's one of the national members. Yes.
You know, I'm really interested. I've met quite a few people that come to Carlsbad for trainings or just a couple of days, and I get a whole host of responses. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this the other day. We had a training here at the college that was really successful related to railroads, and I was talking to one of the trainers who's from Rio Rancho in Albuquerque. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I just moved from Albuquerque. He said, I don't know how you live in the armpit of the state. Like, he was very not shy about that. Mm. And I'm like, I don't really feel that way. You know, I lived in Clovis, I lived in Portales, I lived in Albuquerque. Carlsbad has some real beauty and some real charm, especially right along that river. Mm-hmm. Now, I feel like when you go south of town, towards the Hyatt House and towards Walter Gerald's, you do get that real corporate hotel look. You know what I mean? That looks like any other outskirts of any other town. Right. But Carlsbad has real character. So I'm really interested in what they have to say about that or their thoughts if this is the first time they've ever been here.
Right.
And the best thing you can do is just book them a tour of the caverns.
Exactly.
Then you'll be in great shape. Yolanda, do you have any information on the afternoon workshop? So we have lunch at 12:15, and then at 1:45, which means there'll be plenty of time for a break. From 1:45 to 4, there's going to be some afternoon workshops. Do you have any of that, or is Miss Collis the best person to tell us about those?
Oh, she's the best person to tell us about it because I'm still trying to pull it up. I'm trying to pull it up on
she has it printed out.
Email, and it's not popped up on.
She has it printed out, and I knew that, but I wanted to give you a few more words in this, but I will give you plenty. Don't worry. So what are we looking at for the afternoon that people could look forward to? Because keep in mind, these are afternoon workshops, morning workshops are open to everybody as long as they register.
Right. They are. That's when they're going to have the national staff training is in the afternoon, and that's really mandatory for all members and units to try to attend that.
Right.
And then after they have that, they'll have a workshop by the Office of African American Affairs. They don't have a set topic, but they will be presenting a workshop there also in
Okay.
the afternoon.
Great. And then we break and we get ready for the banquet at 6 p.m.
Yes.
So you're going to go get all dressed up, right?
Of course.
Get dolled up, come back down and show out. I appreciate that. Actually, I really do. That would be that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to have to state in advance, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it. My wife and I would love to go, but we do have the pumpkin patch this time of the year.
Right.
Right. And so we were very, very busy. So we can't do anything this time of the year, unfortunately. So I apologize for that because we really did want to go, but we might be able to make the gospel extravaganza.
That'd be great.
So I will definitely try.
We'll be looking for you.
I'll talk to her tonight. It's important. How can I promote an event and then not even try to make some of it?
Right.
Right. Okay. That's what I'm going to go with. Yolanda, I might be missing a lot, but I definitely want to talk a little bit about what some people or how they can register in advance that they'd like. I believe you can register in advance based on some of these phone numbers at the bottom.
Yes, Yolanda.
Yes. So I'm one of the people, but there are other numbers that's listed. I on there as far as, but if you want to purchase tickets, you can call us in advance, and you can register for tickets for the breakfast, the luncheon, or the banquet, which is the dinner, and those tickets will be available.
Right. Did you want to give your cell phone number out to anybody that listens forever, or do you want to just make me mention just have me mention the numbers on there? I mean, I don't know about that sometimes, though. You know, you've got some numbers here that I could give you.
No.
It's okay. My name. That's funny.
You can do an
There's a lot
email
of
too,
numbers
though.
We can give out.
Yeah. Do you want to give out the judge's number?
Okay, I'll give out mine. My name is Yolanda, and my number is 713-254-7885. And also, in addition, my email address is yljordan@hotmail.com.
Oh, I love that Hotmail reference. I've got a Hotmail still too, and I love it. It's like it turned out. Right, it turned out to be like the only email address that I could get where I didn't have to put a bunch of symbols and numbers associated with it. And I got that thing in 1998.
Exactly.
I got mine in 98, and it's still like I still had to put an underscore in between the first and last name. Yeah. And then when Gmail came around, who knows what I had to put together to make that work? It was too much. Yeah, I like the Hotmail. Hotmail is so old, it's cool again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah.
That's right. You got to be cool to have Hotmail. That's right.
Right. Now, that was great. Thank you for that laugh, by the way. But I'm going to transition a little bit to something maybe pretty sensitive, right? It could be sensitive. I don't know if it is. As a very white person, like talking about race and stuff, I can't become uncomfortable. I don't know where the edge is, right? I'm going to say, devil's advocate maybe, that you moved into Mexico, it didn't feel like there's racism in the state because I don't know why. Because maybe we have a large Spanish population. I can't experience that, right? I never have, so I'm not going to pretend that that's something that I can experience. But I'm kind of interested in the overall sentiment of how you and Yolanda feel about how welcoming the state of New Mexico is. Do you feel like there's some additional challenges in our state that maybe think about the South, right? I'm thinking about Florida. I'm thinking about some Alabama communities. I'm thinking about, I live in a really small town in Oklahoma, and every single person that was not white lived on the other side of the railroad tracks, no questions, right? It's the most stark I've ever seen in my life. I didn't really believe that at 15, you know? And so my question is I do believe I've seen it in some places, right?
Right.
But I'm not sure that I've seen it in New Mexico. So I'm just trying to, if you all are comfortable, I'm trying to gauge what you all may think about some of the challenges that African Americans face in New Mexico, or do we feel like, and I don't know if this is true, or do we feel like New Mexico is a little farther ahead than some places as a result of our Spanish colonial history, as opposed to, well, they're colonizers from Europe, so I don't know the difference. But you know what I'm saying? I digress from that before I talk and get myself in trouble.
Miss Collis, are you going first? Or?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Yolanda.
Oh, okay. Well, I come from the Deep South, so I guess I understand what you're talking about as far as, where there was segregation within the city, because the city that I grew up in was an African-American city. So it was majority African-American. I think it was probably about 70% or more African-American. So I guess I can look at the coin from both sides, but I guess I can't really speak upon the state. I probably would more so be able to give an opinion based upon Carlsbad. I guess maybe from my opinion, because I guess I can see in some aspects where there are some things that I feel like might not be quite so fair with, as far as with me being African American. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to address it, but you know, that's all a part of having different cultures moving to an environment. Because you know, I'm not from New Mexico. I moved here. I've been here for almost 10 years. So you know that it's just some things that I've had to you know, try to adjust to and work with and talk people through. Because as far as when I do feel like I'm not being treated fairly, I do try to address it and say something. So I guess maybe for me that hasn't been an issue with me as far as being verbal enough to address it. But I do think that since we are having more diversity come into the area, I know that I have actually talked to, because I go to some recruitment events through my job. So luckily I've had a chance to see the city of Carlsbad at some of the police department at some of the recruitment events, as well as the sheriff's department at some of these events. And so when I do see them, I do try to make sure that I say something in regards to, you know, hey, you know, we have to try to make it a little bit more diverse, because I know it's probably not as diverse because, you know, they're probably mainly hiring the majority. So I've been trying to give my opinion on how we can do better with becoming a little bit more diverse as far as with our staff, as far as with the sheriff's department and with the city. And I think the city of Carlsbad is doing well and making some first steps. Good steps.
That would certainly be my impression. I would tell you a story that happened just the other day here at the college, right? We're talking about trying to become a training institute, right? It doesn't have to do anything with the color of somebody's skin, but it is going to relate because like we're sitting there and we're having a meeting about how we can do this, right? And we sit down in the meeting, we're looking around the meeting, and it's all men. There's not a single woman at this table, you know? And we're like, well, we don't know how that happened necessarily, but we do have women on our staff that either weren't invited or weren't able to make it or for whatever reason, but we're like, we can't sit here and talk about the training aspects of everybody in the community when I don't have a representative here that can discuss how like training a woman might be different than training a man in the oil field, right? Or things of that nature. So I kind of related to that, right? So what I'm trying to say is I'm not the guy that's like, oh, there's rich black people now, so there's no more racism. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that guy. So I don't understand. So that's why I ask these sensitive questions, and then it can get sensitive too. And I noticed that when you mentioned in your workshops, you have something about police bias in there, right? Now, police bias, which I think we're very familiar with in the country, is something that could become a pretty sensitive workshop, right? That could really make a few people uncomfortable in that aspect. But I think personally, when I worked for the city of Albuquerque, we did Office in Equity Inclusion, Racial Equity Institute training, multiple days of that. I was the equity officer for my department. So, I mean, I learned a lot about how other people feel, right? So I'm in this one workshop on a Zoom call, Miss Collis, right? Because it's COVID, so we're all Zoom calling it, right? And they were like, well, you know, and here I was. They're like, well, this person said this. And I was like, how could that person ever feel that way? If some black guy was discriminated against, I don't mean to say dismissively, but in the scenario, an African-American guy was discriminated against or something. I was like, and then I don't remember the scenario, but like, so I got on and I was like, how could that ever happen? Let me know who that is, right now, and I'll go fix it. And they're like, no, man, your white superiority isn't going to help the situation, right? So I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Who would ever do that to somebody, right? But it happens continuously, even as something that I'm foreign to, which that's why I wanted to bring that up, Judge Collis. And obviously I'm over-talking because I'm a little nervous about the conversation. But yeah, so I mean, you were a little more state savvy than Yolanda, or are you pretty much Carlsbad?
Pretty much Carlsbad with the bias. I think all of us have some bias in us one way or another.
Right.
And also being African American and also being a female, there's times that you can see the bias in that as well, or that I've come across. And I think being a part of Carlsbad for as long as I have been, sometimes you just learn to suppress that. But when you see new people coming into the community, such as Yolanda, And certain things that I probably wouldn't say anything or just let it roll off of my back and keep it moving.
Right.
She would bring that up and let them know, how she feels about that, which is a good thing because sometimes you can get too comfortable.
Right.
And just let things go by without saying anything when sometimes it needs to be said, or either bring people to the table and start discussing it, talking about how we can make things different.
Right. When I was doing the Racial Equity Institute training when I worked for the city of Albuquerque, I sat there with fists in my pocket half the day, right? And because they were telling me all this stuff that I felt like I already knew, but at the end of the day, I go up to one of the gentlemen and I was like, I've never discriminated against a person ever, a day in my life, ever, because I don't feel like I did. I never purposely did that, right? And he says, well, yeah, I know, but I'm asking you to do more. You know what I mean? I'm asking you to take the next step, right? To make sure that they feel included. You know what I mean? To make sure that there's some equity involved in this, right? So there's this mindset of like, let's make sure everybody has shoes, right? There's also the mindset, I got this from an Equity Institute video, right? The other mindset is, let's get everybody a pair of shoes that fit, right? Let's get everybody a pair of shoes that's going to work for them, not just give everybody a size 12 and they got a size 6 and say, good luck. You know what I mean? And so I did appreciate that training, even though I kind of walked away with like, I mean, you're telling me stuff that I've not ever done, I've never been a part of, but then they wanted you to look at the holistic view of, yeah, maybe you're not. Great. You're the guy that would have been marching in the 1960s with them, right? But there's a lot of people out there that aren't that person and aren't that person today, right? And so that's
true.
And so I took away from that, like, especially in hindsight, thinking about it even more, right? And then I went home and talked to my wife. My wife's like, well, she's like, you should go back the next day with some great Maya Angelou quotes because she loves Maya Angelou all the time, reads all her quotes. And I was like, yeah, those are strong quotes. You know what I mean? Right. And so I was like, that's not the solution. I told her my goal there is to really listen to more than it is to talk because it's just not an experience I can relate to. So we are getting short on time. I'm going to give Yolanda a closing statement. Judge Collis, you're going to get a closing statement. But before we do that, I just want to recap everything real quick. It's the NAACP State Conference of Branches, Youth, and College Chapters. The theme this year, All In. It's the 73rd annual conference. All events are going to be at the Hyatt House in Carlsbad at the event center. It's called Carlsbad Event Center. It's a big blue sign. You won't miss it. It's at 4019 National Parks Highway. If you're not a member of the NAACP, that's okay. Go ahead and register for just $40. The Gospel Extravaganza at 7 p.m. on the 25th is free and open to the public. The prayer breakfast starts at 8. That's only an additional $15 for the registration. Then some really great workshops, especially if you're a community member that's not in these circles. I think those workshops could be really, really great for you. Then we have a conference luncheon with Speaker Derek Lewis II. He's the NAACP National Interim Youth and College Interim Director. Afternoon workshops, and then the conference banquet at 6 p.m., which is in that same facility. If you would like more information, you can email hobbsnaacp@gmail.com. There's also a couple of phone numbers floating around there. Do you guys have a Facebook page, Yolanda?
Yes, but it's not under my current last name, so I don't.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, no problem. We won't worry about that. You can go to their website. If you Google NAACP Eddy County, it'll pop some stuff up. This stuff can be found, these flyers can be found around town as well. But Hobbs, NAACP@gmail.com is the best way to get more information. Yolanda gave her cell phone number, so make sure you prank call her. And then, and otherwise, that's really all I have. Chevron, New Mexico Black Chamber of Commerce, New Mexico Office of African American Affairs, a local MLK organization. Yes, please go ahead.
And I have one more thing to add. If someone doesn't want to attend the workshops, which the $40 registration allows you to attend those workshops. But if you just only want to come to the breakfast, you can just come and pay only the $15 for the breakfast.
Oh, or just the lunch for 40. Yeah.
Yes, or just come to the lunch. It's only 40. Or come to the dinner, which is 50. So if you want to just come to the food event, you can just come and buy a ticket for that particular breakfast, lunch, dinner, or all three of them if you'd like, without doing the registration.
Well, yeah, you got PJ&B, you got My Daddy's Barbecue, and then you got Chef Andrea, for dinner, and you know that Chef Andrea is going to put it together nicely. For sure. So, Yolanda, that was great. Is there anything else you want to say before we toss it over to Ms. Collis?
No, I don't have anything necessarily specific. I just hope if you have the time on the 25th and 26th that you do come out and you join us. We would love for you to come and participate and just, give some ideas as well as have the opportunity to socialize and be a part of the group.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Collis. Closing statement.
I would just echo Yolanda. She's not going to say anything, but at the Gospel Extravaganza, she also will be performing as well.
Oh, look at her
So
trying to hide that.
We all need to come out and support that at least. And also, as she stated, this is a community event. Everybody's welcome to come. We're going to have a good time. And as she stated, we can come out, get together, talk about certain things. You know, if you have any issues or maybe some ideas that we can maybe talk about. And then also, if you want to become a member later on, there's a way to get to know all of us here in Carlsbad, and just come out and have a good time. It's going to be a great event.
Yeah, any community, any organization that is working better on civil rights or going and
Right.
picking up trash on the side of the road or doing anything to make Carlsbad just a little bit better is worth investing your time in if you live and you like Carlsbad,
Right.
right?
Right.
This organization is no different, except for you might meet some people you never met before and get a perspective that you never had before too, which I think is very healthy. So on that note, I would like to thank the president of the NAACP chapter of Eddy County, Carlsbad Municipal Court Judge, Collis Johnson. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I
And
appreciate it.
Yolanda Jimenez, the NAACP Youth and AACT-SO coordinator, AACT-SO coordinator. Thank you very much again, Yolanda, for coming on. I know it was by the phone, but I'm so glad you were able to make it.
No problem. I enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both very much. And everybody make sure you get to the Hyatt House this weekend. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.